Hey everybody, I'm Ivory and welcome to my channel. So today I am doing my second round of this type of video. I am doing a full face using only matte products. Anyone that's been following me for even a month or two knows that I do not like highlight. I don't like looking shiny. I don't like looking dewy ever. So I love doing these types of videos because I don't have to go and buy new products. I have a ton of matte products already because that's just how I like to look. I will link the first video I did using only matte products in the description box below, but I decided I wanted to do it again because the first video I did, it was a neutral look, so I decided I'd go at it again, but this time do a colorful eye look. Before we get into the video, be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. I post new videos every Wednesdays and Sundays and post occasional bonus videos on Fridays. And while you're here, be sure to also be following me on my social media. Both my Instagram as well as my Twitter are both _ivorycherry. So if you'd like to see how I created this look using only matte products, then please keep on watching. Starting off with the James Charles palette, I'm first going in with the Sigma E44 brush and going into the shade Cola. And I'm gonna place that into my outer V and literally make a V shape, but I'm not gonna start blending right away. I'm packing down that shape. So I grab little by little and then I stamp it all across my crease and I kind of just jimmy it in so that the pigment sticks to my lid and not the brush. And once it looks like the color in the pan, I'm gonna take this brush and I'm gonna just blend the outskirts of the shadow. Alright, and then once that is blown out, I'm going in with the Morphe M506 brush and I'm going into the shade Playground, and I'm going to use this color to further blend out the first shade. And I'm making sure I'm overlapping with the first color so that there's a nice gradient, and I'm really going in small circles. With a Q-tip, I'm just gonna get some of the shadow off of my lid because I am gonna cut the crease with some concealer. And then to cut the crease, I'm using a flat shader brush and using the ColourPop No Filter Concealer in the shade Medium 22. And I'm not going all the way. It's not gonna be a complete semicircle. I'm gonna leave the end alone because we're gonna cover that up with shadow. Going back in with the Sigma E44 brush, I'm gonna go back into the shade Cola and I'm gonna cover up the ends of the concealer. And once I have concealed the edges, I'm gonna take what's remaining and I'm gonna swipe it inwards to the lid so it kind of creates like a really nice gradient without having to go in with another shadow. Alright, and then using a tiny flat shader brush, I'm going into the shade Flashback, which is just a matte white, and I'm gonna set the rest of the concealer, and I'm also gonna blend it into this blue that we faded inwards. I think he said that this is supposed to be a buildable white, but I gotta say this is a pretty underwhelming white to me. My favorite white that I have thus far is from the BH Cosmetics Ultimate Neutrals palette. Whenever I do a look that I need a matte white, I almost always go and get that palette, but I'm a little lazy today, so I'm just using this one. But if I had it my way, I would probably never use this white in this palette. Going in with the Sigma E06 brush, I am using the Maybelline Eye Studio Gel Liner in the shade Black is Black to create my wing. This wing liner brush has replaced my old one. It's so good and the size is just perfect for me, and I love how I can just maneuver it to get like a perfect pointy tip. Okay, before we move on to the lower lashes, I'm gonna move on to my base now. For foundation, I'm going in with the Morphe Fluidity foundation in the shade F2.100. This is the mattest foundation I have ever tried. It's a little too golden for me, so I'm actually gonna mix this with my Maybelline Superstay because I'm actually more of a olive undertoned person. It took me a while to figure that out, but now I know. Ever since I did my review on the Morphe foundation and concealer, I never picked it up again. So this is my second time ever using it. I forgot how much it smells like paint. It's not that it's a super bad foundation because it's not that bad. The thing is, I have more reliable foundations than this one because this foundation only really looks good for like 5 to 7 hours, and I just have cheaper and better lasting foundations than the Morphe one, so I just don't see myself reaching for this very often. And the Maybelline Superstay is a matte finish. finish, but it's more of a satin matte. So it definitely looks more natural than the Morphe foundation. And then for concealer, I'm using the Maybelline Fit Me Concealer in the shade Light. I'm almost done with this concealer. I'm so excited. I love finishing products. And I've been really good about not buying new makeup. Like, I haven't bought a new foundation since the Morphe foundation, and I believe I bought that a couple months ago. And for eyeshadow palettes, I'm even better. The last one I got was the James Charles one, and I was gifted this, and that was in January. So the last one I actually bought, I think it was the Huda Beauty New Nudes one, and that was in November, end of November. So I've been really good about not buying makeup, because honestly, as much as I love makeup, I just love hitting pan. I love the satisfaction of going through a product and getting your money's worth. And I also really love a nice, healthy bank account. I'm gonna quickly set my entire face using the Coty Airspun. I think we live in a world where people think they have to buy every collection of makeup and every single launch that comes out there, because I noticed that even like the big beauty gurus, they don't really do too many tutorials anymore. They really just review products. Maybe they'll reuse an eyeshadow palette once or twice, but they're on to the next really quickly. And I know there's a lot of makeup to review, but I don't think an average consumer wants to buy all that makeup. I would rather see someone be consistent and do a bunch of looks with one palette, but that's just me. I'm gonna quickly bronze up my face using the Physicians Butter Bronzer. When you look at the pan, you'll think that there's a shimmer to it, but when you apply it to the face, I don't see it at all. For blush, I'm going in with the Milani Rose Petal Blush. This is in the color Romantic Rose. When I first got this blush, I didn't think there was a lot of color payoff. You really have to dig quite a bit to get color, which I'm not a huge fan of, but when you get that color, it's really pretty. It is quite natural on me, so what I really like is I could just pile this on and on and on, and it never looks heavy. I'm also gonna take the brush that I use for blush, and I'm gonna wipe away the rest of my bake. And then I'm gonna take my setting powder again, and I'm gonna use that to carve out my cheekbones. And I also forgot to contour my nose. So I'm gonna do that really quickly. Moving back to the lower lash line, I am using a black gel liner, and I'm gonna add this into my waterline. And then going in with the e.l.f. eyeliner brush, I'm going back into the color Cola, and I'm gonna get that as close to my waterline as possible. And I'm stopping the shadow about halfway in my eye, just because I feel like sometimes when I drag it too close to the inner corner, it kind of makes my eyes look really round, and I want it to be kind of cat-like. So I'm gonna leave the inner half alone. And then using the M506 brush, I'm going into the color Playground, and I'm gonna blend out Cola. And for this color only, I'm gonna drag it inwards, but just slightly. Like, it really should be concentrated on the outskirts of the eye. And then using a pencil brush, I am going into the shade B, and I'm applying that into my inner corner because I want a little pop of color, because the blue alone looks kind of boring. So I'm just gonna stick it right in there and just blend it out a little bit. Alright, and then lastly for lips, I am using the Maybelline Superstay in the shade Seductress. I'm gonna warn you right now, these liquid lipsticks are really long lasting. The only issue I have with them is if you do more than one coat, it can get pretty tacky. At least that's my experience with this one liquid lipstick. I don't have any other colors, but anytime I do more than one coat, it is really tacky and it takes forever to dry down. Luckily, this liquid lipstick is already pretty opaque, so I only had to go in once, but anytime I want to do a second time, I instantly regret it. And I suggest working with it while it's still wet. Do not wait for it to dry down and then try to work more product into it. And lastly, to set it in, I am using the Milani Make It Last setting spray. And this is the completed look, guys. I hope that you enjoyed. If you did, don't forget to like this video and feel free to comment down below what other types of videos you'd like to see from me. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!